Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on a brand new edition of our special show NewsX India A-List. In our endeavor to bring forth the stories of some of India's finest and brightest, today we put together yet another unmissable lineup of India's who's who. Our first guest for the day is prolific actor KK Menon. He was recently seen in Special Ops 1.5, a series that released recently on Disney Plus Hotstar to a great response.
Best known for his prolific acting.
When Sarkar happened for the first time, that I am an actor bit didn't be said after that. No, it was like I am KK.
He was recently seen in Special OPS 1.5.
1.5 is concerned, it's kind of a Himmat story, as you know. Himmat Singh story. So we go back in time.
NewsX India A-List proudly recognizes KK Menon for excellence in acting.
Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on this special interview as part of our NewsX A-List series. We're in conversation today with a very well-known and talented actor who has wowed audiences with his latest series, Special Ops 1.5. So welcome, KK Menon, to the show. Firstly, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
This is a very interesting nomenclature. Firstly, let me tell our viewers, not 1.0, not 2.0, but 1.5. So firstly, tell us about that, KK, entering this, very successful series, this franchise, and how the response has been.
The response has been overwhelming, needs to say. Completely out of the blue, it's like appreciative for it's all over. And as far as 1.5 is concerned, it's kind of a Himmat story, as you know. Himmat Singh story. So we go back in time. So hence it's 1.5. So it's 1.5, 2.
Yeah. About your role now, what really appealed to you about it? Was it because you had seen the previous one and enjoyed it? Or did you like the role? What was it that appealed to you about the show?
I guess it's the writing. It's also the screenplay, which Neeraj is very good at. It makes our job easier. It's writing so that the actor is at ease. So that's number one. And as far as Himmat Singh goes, yes, he's kind of the mainstay in India. And pretty broad shoulders.
Yeah. But what's been the biggest compliment you've received so far for the series? As I said, you wowed audiences already. It's released. It's getting a lot of good reviews from critics, from audiences. What's one compliment that stayed in mind for you for your performance or for the series as a whole?
Yeah, to be very frank, I'm very non-narcissistic, so I don't remember compliments. So it's very difficult for me to recollect. But I know for a fact there's an overall feeling of appreciation and tremendous appreciation. So I'm grateful for that.
Okay. At the end of the day, do you believe that OTT has been a game changer? Now, KK, you've of course been, you've done so many movies and you've really been critically appreciated for your performances. You've always held your own, with big superstars. So, you've been appreciated over the years in movies as well. But do you believe OTT has been a game changer for the industry, leading to new talent, leading to, performers to finally shine because of the length of the roles? Do you believe it's been a game changer when you look at the industry?
I guess it's all of what you said is completely true. Along with that, I would like to add that it's a different medium.
Yeah,
OTT is a different medium, wherein the stories are slightly elongated. So there's a opportunity for filmmakers to kind of juice it out properly, make it interesting. The format is different. So it's a different medium, and each medium has its own charm. And I think OTT has its own. So yes, on OTT there's a kind of a level playing field. Number one. Number two is it's also a very individual viewing, unlike theatre where the mass goes and watches. So there's no mass psychology here working. It's individual psychology. So as a result, and I think every audience is individually is pretty intelligent. So hence, concept becomes the king mode here on OTT.
Yeah.
Now, mass psychology bit doesn't work mass psychology, it's like a party syndrome.
Yeah.
Like examples, even if you don't know how to dance, there's music and people are dancing, so you still tap your feet. It's the party syndrome. Whereas here it's individual, so hence the makers have to be much more careful in terms of conceptualizing in a way that content is.
Now, we're speaking, of course, after a while because, and today virtually because of, this unprecedented year and a half. For you, what's been your biggest lesson from it all? From the lockdown, from just, what we've experienced through the last year and a half. What's been your main takeaway or lesson?
I guess it has taught us a lot in terms of bringing us back to earth. People who are flying high, including, there's so many, especially from our profession, there are so many of us. In fact, this has been saying quite some time now, before COVID and everything else, that we as actors, we are the last in the chain of Maslow's hierarchy. We are at the last requirement, the cinema or whatever. So, but then there is a whole sense that, okay, we are demigods and all that stuff, fan following and all that. That I always felt was humbug. It was a lot of hot air. And long time back, I had also said that you need to understand that you're not so required in the chain of needs.
Yeah.
And the moment there's a national calamity or any kind of thing, the first thing that will go out of the window is this. Roti kapda makan will stay. So, and it so happened with COVID as well. So I think I should have by now realized that one is not the cat's whiskers, but one is doing a job in terms of being an actor or becoming a star for that matter. But ultimately, that's what COVID taught us, bringing everybody down to earth and realizing the fact that there's something called human values, there's something called realization of life.
True. So it's been a big leveler. You're right. Final question then, Q. This show is all about, of course, highlighting achievers. So if I were to ask you, when you look back at your career, what's really been your game-changing role? आजकल IPL भी चल रहा था, तो हर मैच के बाद वो game changer of the match का खिताब मिलता है हर player को. तो आपके लिए, you have been a game changer for the industry, no doubt. But for you in your career, when you look back, any one or two films or performances which have been game-changing for you?
मैं खेल खेलता हूँ, गेम खेलता हूँ, कितना चेंज होता है, क्या होता है मुझे नहीं पता, लेकिन one incident that I can recall is that when I began as an actor, I introduced myself to everybody as that, hello, I'm KK, I'm an actor. So when Sarkar happened for the first time, that I am an actor bit needn't be said after that. It was like, hi, I'm KK. That's enough. So people at least knew I'm an actor. So I felt that was one of the stepping stones after Sarkar. People knew me as an actor, as a performer. That's one thing. Game changing का मुझे पता नहीं यार, मैं वो ऑडियंस पे छोड़ देता हूँ. कहाँ चेंज हुआ, क्या चेंज हुआ नहीं पता, लेकिन इतना है कि इवॉल्व जरूर हुआ हूँ. मतलब I have evolved as an actor over a period of time, and it's been a very interesting journey by far.
Okay, well, let's hope that journey continues. Thank you so much for joining us today, KK Menon, and all the very best to you, and congratulations on the success of your recent series.
Thank you.
Our next guest for the day is CBO of Saarathi, Manish Sharma. With over 2 decades of experience under his belt, he has held several leadership positions at global companies such as Microsoft, Apple, BlackBerry, and many more. Take a look.
Leading an AI-based one-of-a-kind lending marketplace.
A little over 2 decades. I started from BITS Pilani and started my career with Honda in Delhi.
He has held leadership positions at global companies.
I always wanted to come back to India to do something meaningful here. So came back to head operations for BlackBerry.
NewsX India A-List proudly recognizes Manish Sharma for excellence in strategy and business development.
Hello and welcome to NewsX A-List. Today I'm joined by Mr. Manish Sharma. He is the CBO of Saarathi. A very warm welcome to NewsX.
Thank you so much for having me.
Manish, before we talk about your organization and your role in here, you have a very interesting, career path that you've had for the last 2 decades. And, this show is all about people to inspire the younger generation, entrepreneurs, people who want to start up. So therefore, to know from your story would be very interesting to tell them, what they can do in their life to achieve high. So please give us a quick roundup about your journey so far.
A little over 2 decades. I started from BITS Pilani and started my career with Honda in Delhi. Then went for my MBA to Penn State. Then started working for this very large biotech company called Genentech. It was at that time the #1 company in the Fortune 100 best companies to work for. Fantastic experience, a lot of really innovative people. Then had a pleasure of working for Apple in Cupertino right around when the iPhone was launched. Just again, tremendous experience there. But I always wanted to come back to India to do something meaningful here. So came back to head operations for BlackBerry, moved back to Apple. Really, one of the first few members of the team that built the iPhone business here in India. 6 years there. Went from one great company to another, which was Microsoft, just a phenomenal company, very humble under the leadership of Satya, and just so much to learn from there as well. And then finally decided I wanted to do something which was going to change something big in India. And so that's my decision to come to Decimal. Right now, we're working on this platform, which is a digital lending marketplace.
Okay.
I feel like it's going to make a big difference to how India lending is. And so I'm super excited about that.
That's great to hear, Manish. And it's excellent when people like yourself come back to the country and give it back to the country. It's very, very important. I believe in that myself. And it's very nice to see people like yourself doing so.
Yeah.
Manish, as you mentioned, the biggest names people want to work with, can think of working, desire to be working with, you work with all. And, holding important positions there. Gives you an understanding and learning of a lot of new things and new ways. Can you share a few with our viewers for people to understand how it is to work in organizations like those?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to learn, and I could just go company by company. But really, I think my Honda was all about quality. That quality comes first, and I think there's that becomes the center point for what they want to deliver to the customers. Genentech, I learned this thing that no customer goes without, that you put the customer in the center. Every business strategy is around it. To me, two things that I've always taken to heart. The first one from Apple was simplify. And simplification is the state of understanding it completely. And in such a cluttered world, when we bring it down to its bare essence, I think it's beautiful. And then with Microsoft, I think what we learned is you can't win it alone, that having a partnership DNA
Yes.
is what would actually make you succeed in this world. And I really feel like in today's world, in what I'm doing right now, unless I'm able to create partnerships that are meaningful for everybody, it's not going to succeed.
So all the learnings that you have had over the years, what do you bring on board for Saarthi, and what is it that is going to help its users for?
So Saarthi, our vision is to bridge the credit gap in India.
Okay.
The way we want to do it is we want to focus on the offline channel and transform it digitally. And our thinking in there is that for all lending products, people need assistance or expertise before they choose one.
Yes.
And typically, it is your broker, your direct sales agent that helps you make that decision. If that direct sales agent is not digitally transformed, doesn't have the intelligence that now the digital world brings in,
Yes.
they're not going to be able to do it, one, effectively, secondly, for a lot of people. What Saarthi stands for is pulling that intelligence, which typically lies with the bank, back into the channel. So the channel is intelligent and can reach out to a whole lot of people. And that's how we'll bring the credit access to a much higher level than where it is right now.
Manish, I really want to understand this here from consumer point of view. Trust factor, understanding something new, and especially when it has credit involved in it, and and understanding an Indian mentality. How do you crack that here?
Well, so I think to me, insights and bringing actual data closer to the person instead of just your verbal advice
Yes.
makes the trust go much higher. What we are enabling through the digital means is a complete transparency of information.
Okay.
And when that happens, the trust automatically goes up.
That's there. So, this that you do have a banking sales solution, enable
Yes.
solution. Can you explain to our viewers what is that?
So Sarthi, which is our marketplace, is not just a marketplace for the brokers or the direct sales agent. Sarthi is also a platform that a bank can use for their sales teams.
Okay.
Okay, and so when they do that, we provide the AI ML based intelligence and all the APIs that are behind it to create risk profiles for any borrower that's coming in. And so that information is available instantly to all the sales team of the banks. So they are way more effective in the market identifying whether a customer meets the profile that they typically lend to.
Manish, is there someone like Sarthi right now in the Indian market, or you're the first mover for such a kind of concept?
So one, the market is very big. So
Yeah.
there is space for 100 Sarthis to be there and still the market is big.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think the kind of scope that we have right now, there are few players who have a more niche focus.
Okay.
There's not one player which has a financial product focus like we do. So we cover a whole lot more products, and we intend to be in a whole lot more geographies than most of the online players that I see right now. There are certainly offline players, the players who've been around for a while,
Yes.
but they lack the digital intelligence.
So you I just want to understand this. So you have customers right now on board,
Absolutely.
and
So
how have they been growing, especially during the pandemic?
the lending demand has taken off even more post pandemic. So a lot of people are looking for lending products or loans. In a matter of 4 months, we started from scratch and now have a very large book just focused on Delhi NCR and few cities around.
Oh, great.
And so every month we're literally doubling in size.
Excellent.
But what we see is that in about 3 to 6 months, we should be transacting about 1,000 crores a month from overall disbursement standpoint. And it's just a matter of us taking our digital platform to as many channel partners as we potentially can.
And what are your aim? What is the aim for Sarthi? How you want to spread all over the country, or you're still targeting the northern part right now?
So our, we've taken it up as milestones.
Okay.
My first milestone is we should be in the top 20 cities.
Okay.
And we should probably be working with somewhere around 5 to 10,000 channel partners and about 100 lenders. Thereafter, the network effect takes up. And because it's digital platform, you don't actually need a physical presence to be in a lot more cities.
Yes.
So our first focus is 20 cities. And then thereafter, I think we're gonna digitally expand to a whole lot more cities.
That's very good, and we wish you all the very best, and I hope that Sarthi achieves what they want to. But before I let you go, Manish, all your achievements calls for this one quick mantra for, I would not say success, but for a better future. Something that you would tell our young viewers who are watching this.
Sorry. So for me, I think everything really revolves around creating a great team. And one, respecting talent and loving people. You can't achieve anything without these ingredients in mind. And I think, for me personally, I like to hire talent that I would want to work for, so that I can learn so much, right? Our ability our commitment to learn and evolve every day, our desire to create clarity and simplify things, and making sure that we collaborate so everybody wins. I think these are the things that I always keep as a recipe to how I want to move forward.
Manisha, one thing that I am certainly learning out of this interview is that you believe in teamwork, and that is very important. Nothing can be achieved alone. And you need a good team, and for that, you need to have talented people. Thank you so much, and all the very best. And we hope to connect with you once again later this year.
I would love to do that. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
And our next guest for the day is the founding partner of Anant Miratia and Associates, Anant Miratia. With over 16 years of experience, he appears for clients in contractual, commercial, infrastructure, engineering and joint venture disputes. Yes, he's had an illustrious career. Take a look at this conversation on a very topical and relevant issue.
A practicing litigation and disputes resolution lawyer.
Been around for about 5 years now. The law has been progressive. It has evolved a fair bit.
He has been awarded the prestigious Rising Star Award.
A lot of businesses have been overvalued, assets and businesses have been overvalued, and loans have been given without proper due diligence, and there has been a challenge in financial discipline.
Newsx India A-List proudly recognizes Anant Miratia for excellence in law.
Hello and welcome, Amudar Pratap Singh. You're joining us on this special interview as part of our Newsx A-List series. We're in conversation today with Anant Miratia. Anant is founding partner, Anant Miratia and Associates. Welcome to the show, Anant. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Abhay.
Now, we're of course going to be focusing today on the issue of resolution of stressed companies, IBC, what all has been achieved and where we currently stand. So I want to begin, by talking to you, Anant, about these new laws, these relatively new laws which there are, for the restructuring of stressed businesses or distressed businesses in India. Do you believe that over time they have been effective, and have they really lived up to expectations to carry out what they were meant for?
So the older laws that were there in India for restructuring and for distressed companies were basically laws under the SICA and BIFR. There were winding up options for companies to when they were in distress. But these have become in a way redundant over a period of time. And that's where the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code was needed and was brought into India. 2016 is when the law was brought in, but effectively from 2017. And that was a more contemporary, modern version of these laws, also picking up good practices globally. And so that's how IBC came into place. IBC has been around for Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, we call it IBC. It's been around for about 5 years now. The law has been progressive. It has evolved a fair bit and has seen a good number of resolutions, but at the same time, the statistics or the data that is shared by the regulator, which is the Insolvency Bankruptcy Board of India, IBBI, shows that for every one company which meets a successful resolution, there are 4 companies which face liquidation. So that's a challenge. But yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
However, one has to keep in mind that earlier, the NPAs, the non-performing asset issues, NPAs were basically rolled over or kept under the carpet or were not addressed for a large period of time. However, now with the last 4 to 5 years, India is more on a cleanup mode, and any cleanup mode is difficult. So yes, therefore the approach. Yeah.
Okay. In your opinion, though, what have been the drawbacks in achieving the desired results under the code? And do you believe the delays attributed to the resolution process has also been an issue?
So to begin with, before we get onto the specific issue of the resolution process itself, one core concern I have is that, or rather we've seen, is that a lot of businesses have been overvalued, assets and businesses have been overvalued, and loans have been given without proper due diligence, and there has been a challenge in financial discipline. At least 5 years prior to 5 years prior from now, it was there for about a couple of decades, and that's what we're trying, and that a result of that is what we're seeing right now. Over and above that, indecisiveness and delay in taking decisions by financial institutions who are the stakeholders who take decisions, who basically form the committee of creditors that decides how the resolution process is run. That takes a lot of time because for some reason, there are hierarchies of decision makers, and therefore that's a challenge. Lack of strength in the judiciary is one more thing which needs to be ramped up. Infrastructure. COVID break has been one more angle there, which has delayed things by. Of course, there was a straight 3 to 4 months pause, and then after that, with all this back and forth of COVID and interruptions, we are back by about a couple of years in terms of the progress that we were making in the law and the changes in restructuring of companies. I feel we've gone back by 2 years.
Okay.
Prolonged litigation has been something which is the resolution period provided under the law is about 330 days.
Right.
But we see that more than 75% of the cases take more than, originally it was 270 days and amended further to 330. But we see more than 75% of the cases take more than that prescribed time. And even in case of liquidation, which is supposed to happen in 1 year or within 1 to 2 years, it usually takes a lot more than that. Moreover, NCLT has initially been seen, or for a large amount of time, is being seen as a money recovery forum, and that to add pressure on companies which are defaulting. And that was precisely a reason why the threshold of initiating or triggering insolvency was increased from a lakh of rupees to a crore of rupees. So that's something which was certainly a challenge.
Okay.
However, in spite of these flaws or challenges, IBC has definitely been faster, progressive, transparent compared to the previous regimes, and is still improving.
Right. As far as the IBC is concerned, in your practical experience as a lawyer, which do you believe have been the industrial sectors most impacted under the code, and any concerns also that you'd like to raise at this particular juncture about the code?
Right. So from what we see across manufacturing, real estate, construction, power sector, the infrastructure sector, steel, food processing, textiles, these are some very evident sectors which have been hit and which have been seeing a maximum or a large number of companies going into insolvency. The law per se has evolved and rather has been evolving. And as I said, the courts have been proactive and addressing as and when issues crop up, legal issues crop up, ambiguities crop up, the courts have been addressing them on the go.
Yeah.
One concern that still remains is for a large part of the business community who are basically suppliers, traders, creditors, they get huge haircuts and they're treated way down in the waterfall mechanism if a company either goes into liquidation or a resolution process. So this could sometimes, or rather this is causing a chain reaction where if as an operation creditor, if I'm getting haircuts in a large number of my customers' insolvency processes, ultimately I face a liquidity crunch. And that could lead to an insolvency of my own company. So yeah, the haircuts for operational creditors is a huge concern.
Okay. Also, I have to ask you then, what is the future ahead, the best future ahead look like for the IBC? And do you believe that more changes could be on the anvil, particularly related to the MSME sector?
The IBC has always given a bit of a special preference to the MSMEs. Initially, of course, a couple of years it was just finding its feet, but then since 2018-19, there were discussions of bringing in relaxations for MSMEs. Even in the case of MSMEs, the promoters are in a position to come up with their own resolution plans, provided they meet certain legal criteria. There are certain exceptions that have been made for them. Pre-pack insolvency was in discussion and has finally been notified, but then these are untested waters as of now. And banks have their concerns as to why should they take a haircut beforehand, before even getting into the insolvency process. So that's something which is to be seen. However, the MSMEs have benefited based on thanks to the relaxation that the governments have given as far as MSME is concerned.
Okay.
Now, with respect to the future of IBC, two broad areas will evolve in the coming times. One would be group insolvency. You've already seen a touch of that in the Videocon case. And cross-border insolvency, which again we have seen a bit of that in the Jet Airways case, where the Dutch administrator worked in close sync with the Indian insolvency resolution professional. Finally and importantly on this issue, personal guarantors under the insolvency code has been notified, to go behind the personal guarantors. And that's a new area. People need to realize that they need to mitigate the challenges around it. Of course, how the process is going to pan out, the timelines of the process, forums, all of that, though it's set on a theoretical mode on paper, but it has to be seen with time how it pans out.
No.
It's important that the Indian business community realizes that they have to stop or they have to avoid executing personal guarantees very loosely, especially of family members and female family members who have no connection with the business, because things are going to be tough going forward.
Okay.
So,
Now, also, of course, you have in the current situation the COVID pandemic, which of course still continues, and it has caused huge economic impact and distress, across sectors, across countries. Now, the Corporate Affairs Ministry, we had seen late last year, announced a suspension of the code. What do you believe the relief this provided the economic industry across sectors, and also what was the extent of the suspension given?
so there was a suspension on triggering of or initiating of insolvency proceedings for defaults during the COVID period because we didn't know what hit us when
Yeah.
COVID came in last year. The first time we understood the concept of a lockdown or so on and so forth. So the defaults that have occurred between 25th of March 2020 and 1 year from there on, which is until 24th of March 2021, would be considered as something called the COVID default. So if a default is in that period, one cannot initiate insolvency proceedings against those particular COVID default companies. This has definitely helped the MSME sector, the mid and small size companies during these distressed times. That does not mean that the debt is dissolved. And there are always other forums where especially financial institutions are going for recoveries in these other forums. However, there are certain ambiguities that still remain in terms of whether is this a permanent immunity that is being given, or is it something which which is only there during that 1 year. One of the Supreme Court judgments indicate that this seems to be more like a permanent immunity, but we'll have to wait and see for more clarity on this issue.
Okay, finally, we've almost run out of time, but as a closing comment, I'd like you to just talk about how a common businessman can safeguard, his company, his sector in these very difficult times we live in and very uncertain times. There are multiple variants coming in, Anand. There may be another lockdown, there may not be. We've seen several lockdowns for the last year and a half. How can a common businessman protect his own interests, protect his business, his company?
To begin with, I think keep your bankers informed. If you are in a distressed position, keep them informed. In India, we've seen very commonly that people tend to, people shy away from having a very transparent business arrangement with their bankers. So keep them informed. Avail any schemes if they are applicable to you. One very important thing is the manner in which business is done. It has to change in terms of documentation, record keeping, communications through emails. Business practices have to be more formal now. A lot of business in India is on oral and verbal assurances and so on and so forth, which has to change. So yes, that's so documentation and record keeping is important. Limit your credit exposure. That is something certainly I would recommend. Have a good relationship with your creditors so that you avoid disputes, defaults, landing up in the courts, and that way. As far as customers who are defaulting or who have been slow or who have not been responding to you, keep a track on them. If there are other cases, other companies who have gone behind them in the NCLT or have they gone into insolvency, then one needs to keep a track. You can't go. Ignorance cannot be taken as ignorance doesn't help a person as far as law is concerned. Limitation of there's something called the limitation law in India, which means if your debt is barred by limitation, you can't take legal action against it. So we see a lot of times companies don't have debt which is acknowledged within the concerned limitation period, which is 3 years. So ensure that you take acknowledgements and confirmation of balances. And finally, if you're seeing distress, if you're seeing potential challenges, take appropriate legal advice at the right time to ensure that you avoid challenges at a later point in time.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that's very practical and sane advice for those watching. We leave it at that. Many thanks to you, Anand, for joining us for this conversation on NewsX, and wishing you and your firm all the very best in the days ahead.
Thanks so much, Sudhir. Thanks.
Next guest on the show today is actor Ritwik Dhanjani. He recently featured in the Audible original Buri Nazar, a seemingly light family drama with a supernatural twist. Take a look at this conversation.
A well-known Indian television actor.
Team of Audible sort of reached out to me a couple of times and for multiple projects.
He features in the Audible original Buri Nazar.
And I'm always excited and always keen on doing things that I've never done.
NewsX India A-List proudly recognizes Ritwik Dhanjani for excellence in acting.
Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on a brand new interview as part of our NewsX A-List series. We're in conversation today with actor Ritwik Dhanjani. Ritwik, welcome to NewsX. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very, very much, Uday. Thank you so much for having me. and thank you so much for allowing me to walk and talk with you. I am currently in I'm currently in Ladnu. This is a small little town in Ladnu where I am. If you guys
Wow.
can see around. So
Yes, yes.
I'm here for a friend's wedding. So
Oh,
that's
lovely.
exactly why we have to sort of do this in between the wedding time. But what's up?
No,
What's up? Tell me.
it's looking beautiful. So it's adding a lot of
Thank you.
significant. It's adding a lot of culture and ethos to our frame. So
That's
it's
great.
looking
That's
good.
great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but
Thank you.
but interestingly, we're talking about videos today, but it's an audio original that you're here to talk about. So tell us a bit
Right.
about how this audible original Buri Nazar really happened for you, Ritvik. What appealed to you about this project?
I was completely unaware about not just the platform and also the power of the platform and so much that you can do with just audio. The team of Audible sort of reached out to me a couple of times and for multiple projects, and then this was one of the productions that they reached out to me for, and they were like, just give it a read and see what it is like, and they also sent me a link of What Evil Eye, which is the original film of
Yeah.
it's an Amazon original film. So they're like, we're trying to make an audio version of it, and that sounded really exciting, is because it's not something that I've ever done before. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and I'm always excited and always keen on doing things that I've never done, things that I've never thought that I would do. So that's exactly what sort of got me intrigued. And as soon as I read the script was amazing.
Yeah.
The platform, of course, is great,
Yeah.
and just the idea of trying to do something with just your voice, it was honestly very challenging. It was challenging is because you're going to be in a studio, 4x4 studio. You don't know what you're going to do, so your all that you're left to is just you yourself in the studio. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
challenging, and it was interesting enough for me to grab the challenge on.
True, true. But I mean, was there any sort of preparation you did for it? Voice modulation, or did you practice on your own? Because obviously, this has to be really interesting. We're not seeing you; we're just hearing you. But the podcast culture is booming, so a lot of people are
Hmm.
enjoying this new medium. But was there any specific prep you
Right,
did?
right. I didn't do no prep. I didn't. I prepped like I would prep for another script.
Mhm.
Because the script was very self-explanatory. It was written beautifully. The drafting was amazing. The lines were great. So we had a couple of sessions with my director to sort of understand what he's wanting. My character to sort of look like. Sorry, sound like.
Yeah,
See, there you go. It's difficult to sort of fathom that it has to be just sound like. So,
yeah.
so nothing in specific, honestly, no particular training. My acting training in general included a lot of voice classes and a lot of voice training.
Mhm.
So I think that did help a lot when we were doing what we were doing. So yeah,
Okay. You've also been part of their ad films with Nakul Mehta.
yeah,
Is he a good friend of yours? So how was it like working with him
yeah,
firstly? And also, I think it brings out a lot of the real side of you also on reel, because
yeah,
you're gymming in the ad films. You're also
yeah,
talking about healthy eating.
yeah, yeah. Those are really cool ad films. Yeah, did you manage to see it there? Did you see it?
Yes, yeah, that's why I'm asking you.
So it's very interesting. It's very interesting is because it's divided into these two different halves on the same set. When
Yeah,
when they first were talking about the idea, I was like, "What is this? I'm like, what are we trying to do? What are we trying to do here?" So I
yeah.
I, I quite didn't get what it was,
Mhm.
but when actually it was unfolding in the way it was unfolding, it was really amazing. It was really amazing.
Okay. Well, obviously you're traveling again, like we
Yeah,
can see today. But
yeah.
how has it been like in the last year and a half? Very different year and a half to many years that you've obviously lived before that, and all of us have actually lived before that. Wow. You're soaking it in. You're soaking it in. I can
I'm
clearly see.
soaking it in totally.
Yeah.
Yes,
But is this something you miss, that traveling, just being on the move, and what
absolutely,
kept you going, through this year and a half?
absolutely, man. Honestly, it's been a very fantastic year for all of us. It's been a cathartic year for all of us. Uh, we've been exposed to so many things on our daily lives that we couldn't imagine that we would be facing.
Yeah.
So many questions to ask yourself. I think that entire 1 year period of the lockdown sort of made us go within. made us question so many things about ourselves, made us so much more kinder, so much more thankful, so much more better of a human being, if I may say,
Yeah.
for a lot of us. And I think now that I look back at it, and now I feel how much I missed traveling, is because now I can appreciate every little moment so much more than I would otherwise.
True.
You know,
True. Yeah.
and that's exactly what's the gift of the lockdown that I would like to call it as, because
No doubt.
earlier we would be just, I think I think in life we were all just sort of running through it, not living it. We
Yeah.
were sort of we were in it but not there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
You know?
been your takeaway. That's been your lesson.
Absolutely.
From of course the lockdown. But
Yeah.
you know, if we're talking, of course, about your work today, and this show is all about celebrating, individual success in various fields, and you've certainly done
Yeah.
that in yours.
Yeah.
What do you believe
Thank you.
was the one project that worked for you, or a couple of performances that, or shows that you did that you believe have been the most fulfilling, or perhaps have changed the game for your fans and audiences?
I think Pavitra Rishta being definitely one of the most, one of the shows that has practically shaped my life to the way I am or the way it is today. And apart from Pavitra Rishta, I think after Pavitra Rishta, it has to be Cartel, which is just been released on
All Balaji.
MX and all Balaji and MX. So I think these two shows definitely. But I think every little part that I play in everything, like be it a reality show, or be it anything that I was hosting or anything, everything played its important part. Everything played its part well. Because if I did not do a jhalak at the point when I did it, people wouldn't know that I'm a dancer as well. So I think that played its importance. But if you ask me characters and if you ask me shows, it has to be Pavitra Rishta and it has to be Cartel.
Okay, great. Well, keep it up. And congrats on
Thank
this
you.
new debut of yours, this audio debut of yours, and enjoy your travels and enjoy the wedding. Thank you so much, Ritwik, for joining us.
Thank you very, very much, Uday. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It was lovely. Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot, and please go listen to Buri Nazar. It's an Audible original. It's an amazing here. Please listen to it, Uday. I'd like for you to listen to it and tell me what you think, and all your viewers right now. Please go and
I will do that and let you know. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you, Uday.
Bye.
You have a good day. Bye.
Our final guests for the day are actor Amol Parashar and producer Vishesh Bhatt. Amol stars in Cash. It's a film which has been produced by Vishesh Bhatt. Cash released recently on Disney Plus Hotstar. It's received great reviews. Listen in to this conversation with the team.
Best known for their entertainment performances.
So it's a very sweet reception to a film like this. Of course, we have all worked hard.
They have worked on a recent movie streaming on Hotstar.
To preserve, you can say, a sense of the innocence or the purity of the script.
Music's India A-list proudly recognizes Amol Parashar and Vishesh Bhatt for excellence in entertainment.
Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on this special interview as part of our NewsX A-list series. We're in conversation today with actor Amol Parashar and producer Vishesh Bhatt. They are getting a lot of positive feedback for their latest film Cash, which is streaming on Disney Plus Hotstar. Welcome both of you, and thank you and congratulations on all the response.
Thank you so much, Uday. We are quite humbled by all the love so far.
Absolutely, and let's hope it keeps pouring in. But let's begin with that, Amol. How it feels getting the positive response from the critics, the audiences. What's the best compliment you've received so far?
I think all of it. I don't want to choose one. I'm sure it'll be difficult also to choose one, but I also don't want to choose one because it's generally the whole vibe that has been very reassuring, very pleasant, very positive from everyone. My parents are loving it. My younger cousins are loving it. Anybody who's seen the film so far is loving it. My dad is coming to me and telling me कि देखो मैंने पूरा इंटरनेट पे देखा, मुझे तो कोई बुरा बोलने वाला नहीं मिला इस फिल्म के लिए. So it's a very sweet reception to a film like this. Of course, we have all worked hard and we have some confidence. कि हाँ, the script is great. Yes, we have great technicians. We have great support from our producers. But still, वो एक थोड़ा तो होता है ना कि यार पता नहीं क्या होगा, पता नहीं कैसा रिएक्शन आएगा, वो एक नर्वसनेस होता है. It's my first film as the primary face of the film. Vishesh's first film as a solo producer. ऋषभ's first film as a director. हम सब ने काम किया है पहले, ऐसा नहीं है कि काम ही नहीं किया है, डेब्यू नहीं है, बट स्टिल लाइक वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सब एज अ प्रोड्यूसर विशेष के ऊपर है, डायरेक्टर ऋषभ के ऊपर है, एज प्रॉब्ली यू नो इन टर्म्स ऑफ faces that people want to see, वो आपके ऊपर है. And I think all of us have and Smriti's debut in a film.
Yeah.
So I think all of us are very relieved. First आपको relief होता है
बिल्कुल.
ओह कि चलो बुरा नहीं लगा. Then you're like अरे यार अच्छा लग रहा है. Then you're like अरे यार काफी लोग सबको अच्छा लग रहा है. So far I think whoever has seen the film has taken positively to it.
Yeah.
And,
The graph is still moving upwards, as you're saying. Vishesh, what do you believe it's, the one or two factors are that's really clicked with this project, with the audiences? What's been the USP that you believe has worked well for you? And also, is it reassuring for you as a producer that you did back a subject like this? And as Amol was saying, it was a lot of responsibility on your shoulder because it was, the first solo film you were backing and producing in this manner.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was. I think it's quite heartening that this has happened, is because it's the solo production and the way I wanted to approach it. I've self-funded it, which is kind of a rarity you see nowadays. I mean, there are multiple producers, plus there are studios and platforms and everything. So I went about doing this project in a certain way because I wanted to preserve, you can say, a sense of the innocence or the purity of the script and the team.
Yeah.
And starting with, I started a new brand as a company which can promote narratives with a newer team from a younger audience or a younger protagonist's perspective. I think that aspect of the startup entrepreneur and his view of this new India is what I wanted to talk about as this new brand that I'm bringing, but starting with this narrative.
Films are often inspired by real life events, Amol. So do you mind, this is something as Vishesh was saying that everyone has gone through in India, and everyone has dealt with in some way or the other. So is that also, you think, working कि लोग इससे बीत चुके हैं तो मजा भी आता है क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं शायद वो चीजें उनकी जिंदगी में हुई है जो आप दिखा रहे हो.
Correct. I didn't मैं ऐसे सोचा नहीं था करते हुए या of course demonetization पता था सबको, but I think it's the first time when I saw people watching it and enjoying it across ages and social class and whatever. Everybody kind of saw the film, took something from it, or found it, if not 5 jokes funny, but 3-4 सबको अपने jokes मिल गए. And that was when I realized here actually when you're looking for a topic for a film or a show, you're looking for, maybe when you're looking for relatability कि यार ये चीज कितने लोगों के साथ हुई होगी या ये कितने लोगों ने feel की होगी. And suddenly I realized कि 1 second, the demonetization, which is the starting point of this film, and a lot of situations arise out of that, actually में इस देश के हर इंसान ने experience किया. That is one thing that everybody experienced, whether good, bad, indifferent, सबने कुछ ना कुछ पर्सनली एक्सपीरियंस किया है, या अपने आसपास देखा है या सुना है या वो बातें सुनी है.
आपने भी किया होगा.
मैंने भी किया, मतलब इन द सेंस दैट एटलीस्ट बातें तो हुई. मतलब उस रात मुझे लगता है कि 80% इंडिया जागा हुआ ही था पूरी रात, बिकॉज सब समझ रहे थे. जिनको समझ नहीं आ रहा था वो समझ रहे थे, जिनको समझ में आ गया था और अगर उनके पास था तो वो उनकी कैलकुलेशन शुरू हो गई थी कि अभी क्या करना है. और शायद जिनके पास उतना नहीं था पर थोड़ा सा था, लेकिन there were also people who get paid in that in cash, and for them to even figure out कि हो क्या रहा है, हम क्या करें, कहाँ जाएं. Some of them don't have bank accounts. So ऐसा I think उस रात मेरी theory, मजाक में मैं बोलता था my parents were in Bombay और हम लोग बैठ के डिस्कस कर रहे थे, जबकि हमें बहुत ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा था. And both my parents were government servants. तो उनका था कि यार हमारा क्या है, हमारा तो ऑलरेडी हिसाब किताब सब सरकार ही करती है और सरकार ने किया हुआ है. But still we were up till long because this was almost like
ATM lines.
हाँ, anyway, this was almost like an
पैसे नहीं
earthquake.
थे हमारे पास, डिजिटल
बाहर
नहीं थी.
बाइकों पे गाड़ियों में बाहर निकले हुए लोग, और it was almost like the whole country was awake trying to understand this little shake that had happened. It was almost like an earthquake, and then you stay up for some time कि क्या हुआ, डरते हिली. तो and for the rest, and then the next few days, all the theories, all the
and then the lines,
all the stories.
I covered it personally as well, so I remember that very clearly. But just quickly talking, to you, a quick follow-up question, Amol, and then I'll get in Vishesh again on OTT as well, because I mean your film is released on OTT at a time when cinemas are also reopening, but OTT obviously still has its audience because your film is doing very well. There are many other releases also on other OTT platforms which are doing well as well. And आपने भी दौर देखा है, जैसे आप ग्राफ के बारे में बात करें, आपने भी OTT का दौर देखा है. One of the first original OTT stars, everyone came into OTT. So
before there was no word like
OTT, and where do you believe it's going to go now next?
I'm sorry, I butted in between, but I was just saying that as a joke. I say that when I did my first web show or web series, हम लोग को OTT word भी नहीं पता था. ये था ही नहीं. 2016 में OTT word नहीं था. It was a web series. Web series माने कहाँ है कि YouTube mostly or TVF Play had its own platform, but लोग mostly honestly YouTube पे ही देखते थे. And then other OTT platforms, other platforms, एक दो करके धीरे-धीरे एक भीड़ हुई. It's almost like जैसे हमें demonetization का मतलब नहीं पता था जब तक demonetization हुआ नहीं. So but I could sense it because I experienced it personally. I had heard कि हाँ, there had been 1-2 shows that this same company TVF had made already. Friends had experienced it, but जब मैंने खुद experience किया, तो मुझे समझ में आया कि ये कहाँ तक पहुँच रहा है. Because the kind of people that my work was reaching to, the kind of appreciation it was getting, was something that I had not imagined. Even after knowing कि हाँ, my friends had become famous, उसके बाद भी मुझे लगा कि यार नहीं ये बहुत deep जा रहा है वो. And it was, I think, striking at a part of audience that had been completely untapped. And why? And it was untapped because of what Vishesh was saying, that there was a lot of assumption कि यार audience को ये मत दो, ये उनको समझ नहीं आएगा, या ये मत बनाओ, ये रिस्की है, या अरे वो चलता है वही बनाते हैं. So वो audience है, वो वाला audience भी है जो आपको लग रहा है कि है, लेकिन एक बहुत ही growing number of audience last 10-15 साल में बना. And my theory is also because अभी आपके चैनल इंटरनेट आ गया, अभी बाहर का कंटेंट देख रहे हैं लोग. यंग लोग कॉलेज में बैठ के इंग्लिश शोज देख रहे हैं. मैं कॉलेज में बैठ के बाहर के शोज देख रहा था. सो योर सेंसिबिलिटीज हैव सडनली डाइवर्ज्ड, वो अलग ही डायरेक्शन में निकल गई. सो वो जो एक बहुत बड़ा जनरेशन है या बहुत बड़ा सेक्शन ऑफ दिस कंट्री है, उसको कोई देख ही नहीं रहा था. वो लग रहा है वो बेचारे बाहर के शोज देख रहे हैं और क्लिप कर रहे हैं कि हमारे यहाँ क्यों नहीं बनता.
So now they're tapping into that generation.
Now I think they are getting tapped into, and that was why they took to it so fast. So because suddenly उनको लगा कि हाँ यार मेरे को अपनी कहानियां देखने को मिल रही हैं in my language. This is like my story. This has happened to me. वो फिल्म देखते थे, रिलेटिबिलिटी. फिल्म देख के लगता था यार मेरे साथ तो नहीं होता है कि मैं घूसा मारता हूँ 4 लोग उड़ जाते हैं. या वो टीवी देखते थे तो उनको लगता है मेरे साथ तो नहीं होता है कि बचपन में शादी हो जाती है और फिर 4 बार शादी हो जाती है.
So we've completely run out of time, but I want to get into Vishesh for a quick last word on what do you believe? Are you now sensing what your genre will be? We all know Mukesh Bhatt's genre. We all know Mahesh Bhatt's genre. Are you now sensing what Vishesh Bhatt wants to do? What his genre will be?
I think, I've been part of that narrative for quite some time, and I did a film called Jannat, and I did a murder three, which was a little different from the other murders. But I've tried to do something new always, something that is pushing the envelope of the mainstream more than the art house. And I would say, what is my amazing understanding of what has happened this, and this is the first time I've gone to a film which this was also supposed to be theatrical, other films which are supposed to be theatrical, quite a few big films which are still was supposed to be theatrical are now still being announced that are going directly to OTT, right? But what I've experienced for the first time is that the weekend and the Tuesday or the Wednesday we're talking today, we would have been just talking about, and the entire world will be talking about the numbers at the box office. But what has happened with OTT is because it's accessible instantly at the convenience to so many people. What surprises me is that just within a day or two, I had people all over in my housing society and various people who had already consumed the film. They could have probably not made the time to go to the theater otherwise, but they could easily access it. And it's surprising because a film of this size also, the limited screens it would have been there. But the amount of people who end up watching it so quickly is a great.
So that's a call that you're going to have to take. Which is a film that's meant for which medium, because all the mediums are coexisting now. Okay, we're going to have to leave it at that. This is a conversation I think that can keep going. But we've run out of time. But thank you very much, Amol Parashar and Vishesh Bhatt, for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's hope you keep getting love for cash. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.